Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. We are here, and it's that time for us to get the show on the road. Want to say a pleasant good morning, reaching out to each and everyone across the entire tri-state area. I am David Squeezaniki here, and it's time to get what we call cruising with the case handler going. It's a show on immigration. It's a show on personal injury. Everyone out there right now, before we get into it, I want everyone to get aligned right now. Once again, I'm David Squeezaniki, broadcaster on 93.5 FM since 1996. There's always been a solid immigration radio show here. I'm now aligned with a company, a firm rather, I should say, that has been around for over 60 years, a firm that has proven themselves in the Caribbean community, a firm that every Caribbean, every person out there that needs immigration advice or help should actually call. Their number is 844-774-3529. And of course, they are Pollack, Isaac, and Desico. We refer to them as PPID. With that said, we have answered, I'm quite sure, thousands of questions since the inception of this program, and we will be doing so right here. We will be answering your immigration questions absolutely free on air, or on Facebook. So if you've got your questions rather, place them on Facebook so that we can get to them in time. We normally jump the show off with one of our stalwarts, an attorney that is known as Alan E.K. He's one of the top attorneys in the nation, one of the most experienced attorneys in the nation. Wherever you are, whomever you are, you actually need to get your question in with him. I'm quite sure he has an answer. And ladies and gentlemen, also he has a lot of connections with people who are aligned with immigration. With that said, the firm is managed by Conrad Pollack, the managing partner. And also, of course, we have Nelson Madrid, the Maverick, one of the partners that is truly exceptional when it comes to people who have been arrested, people who have been put in removal proceedings. With that said, gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's another day, it's another dawn. It's the 13th of January. We're moving closer to what we all want. We won't go down that road, but we all know what we're talking about. I am excited. There's a lot of things that we have coming. I've been speaking about it on radio where immigration is concerned. We're going to be doing a town hall meeting with the attorneys at Pollack, Isaac, and Desico. It's where you bring your legal questions to the airwaves, to Facebook, to, of course, Zoom. We'll be inviting you on our Zoom session, so we'll have tons of people on our Zoom sessions who will be able to participate with these attorneys, ask them the questions, get your answers, and of course, let others know more about this powerful law show that we do each and every single day. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, just want to say good morning, Conrad. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. I haven't been on all week. I've missed you, David.
Well, thank you so much. Miss you too, man. Mr. Maverick, how are you, sir? How are you doing today?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah,
sorry.
Mr. Maverick.
I'm doing good, but I think Conrad wanted to add something.
I know you wanted to, but I'm just doing the introductions first,
Oh, okay.
Get that out of the way. Good morning, Alan E.K. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
It's good to have you here. And by the way, everybody, start sharing. I'm going to ask you to start sharing to other people all over on Facebook, on the radio, text other people to tune in. I'm quite sure Alan E.K. has a lot of immigration updates as to what's happening with immigration here in the United States. But let's kick it over to Conrad for my quick commentary from him. Hopefully the handlers that are listening. But let's get our 2 minutes commentary in, Mr. Conrad Pollack, so we can get the show on the road.
Yeah, I don't have that much to say today. It's been a relatively slow week immigration-wise. For the last several years, especially the past year or two, we've been so used to the daily bombardment, barrage of new regulations and new laws and new restrictions, and let's kick all the immigrants out and so on. So we've become so used to that. So in fact, since we've been on the show now, going on 10 months, I believe, that's all we ever talk about. Today is another change. This is a new restriction. The public charge rule has been changed today. No more asylum, travel bans, so on and so forth. But lately, I guess our dear leader has been a little preoccupied with other issues. So he hasn't really been able to focus much on further immigration restrictions. Although that said, he ventured outside the White House yesterday for the first time, besides going to the golf course, and he went down to the border yesterday, down in Alamo, Texas, to see the 450th mile of his big, beautiful wall that was constructed. You know, and of course, you know.
So they're still building the wall?
Well, they have now, there are 450 miles of wall. I think before he started, there were 425 miles of wall. What they've done is basically refurbish a lot of sections and added a couple, which of course Biden has said already that.
What will Biden do?
As of next week, Biden will stop construction on the wall, stop wasting money on that stuff. But he was down there yesterday and lauding himself. We did a great job. You know, of course, didn't mention the fact that Mexico, remember Mexico was supposed to pay? Didn't mention the fact that Mexico didn't pay for the wall. Didn't mention the fact that, I don't know, how long is that border, Alan? 1,500 miles, 1,800 miles? And they've got 450 miles of wall, you know, but again, this is par for the course. You know, he sees what he wants to see. So he was down there yesterday, and you know, I don't even know that he had many border patrol or border people down there supporting him, because you know, it's like that famous scene of the sinking ship and all the rats jumping ship, you know, because they don't want to go down with the ship. That's kind of what we've been seeing for the past week or so. You know, so I guess it's applying in this situation as well. Go ahead, Alan.
It's going to change right now, because I believe that Biden is coming in with a lot of good things.
Yes.
I mean, so far what I've seen, as he has spoken about immigration, a lot of great things. He has commented on DACA, he has commented on quite a few things, you know, and I'm very, very happy that, you know, we have been steadfast in giving information and helping people continuously. And Conrad and Nelson and, you know, Alan, that's the reason why people, you know, actually tune in to hear what's going on, to hear the changes. And you guys did a wonderful job in giving free consultations in 2020. We're now giving people more solid help by them, you know, retaining you guys. And we want to remind people that they can actually reach out to the firm at 844-774-3529. The orange guy will be gone soon, you know, so we're not even worried about him right now. You know, I think they've nipped him or neutered him, you know, so we'll see.
Well, now the point is, you know, look, whether you agree with the impeachment or not or whatever, the point here, as far as I'm concerned, as far as everyone in this country should be concerned, whatever happens, the main thing is just make it so that he cannot run again, you know. And from what I've been reading, I'm not a constitutional scholar by any means, but from what I've been reading, if the impeachment vote goes through, although they need 2/3 of the Senate to impeach him and remove him, they only need a majority vote of the Senate to disallow him from running for office again, which would be awesome. And my guess is, at the very least, that's what's going to happen here, because you can bet. In fact, even McConnell has come out in favor, basically, of impeachment. He realizes how Trump has damaged the party, and they don't need him anymore. And now he's just an albatross around their neck. So everybody is, like I said, the rats are jumping ship. But at the very least, let's make it so that he can't run again in 24. Can you imagine this guy would be president again? Can you imagine that?
No, I can't. No, I cannot imagine it. You know, and I can't imagine it. So with that said,
anyway, wait, let me finish my thought here. You know, in terms of going forward, you know, everybody's been locked down. You know, they're saying now even February is going to be worse than January. Over 4,000 people died from COVID yesterday. They're expecting that number to jump up to 5,500 a day. 5,500 people a day dying from this virus. But my point here is that it will peak in February, March, April. The weather will start changing. The vaccines will start kicking in. You know, in fact, Alan, I think, did you get the vaccine yet? I thought 85-year-old and over, you could get it, no?
I haven't got it yet. I'm trying to get it as soon as possible. I have to make a phone call.
All right.
I thought, you know, if you're 80 or is it 90? I forget, but I figured you got it already. But regardless.
That's how much experience he's got.
I'm counting the days.
Regardless, though, the world is going to open up again, and Biden is going to change a lot of the immigration rules, the restrictions that the Trump administration came down with. A lot of good things ahead. And I personally foresee by the second half of this year, certainly by the last quarter of this year, you know, I think we'll see there'll be a return to pretty much normalcy. Let's hope. In New York City, I mean, I'm tired of looking out my window and not seeing a lot of traffic out there, or people clogging the sidewalks. I'm just tired of it. I want the people back in the city, you know. But I think, you know, by the end of this year, certainly September, October, I think we'll be seeing a lot of that. You know, so there are good times ahead, and there is reason for optimism. There, I've said my spiel.
Ladies and gentlemen, Conrad Pollack, the managing partner of the firm, the architect of the firm Pollack, Isaac and Basico. We refer to it as PPID. And of course, he's one of the practicing attorneys there. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure when you go for your immigration advice or help, you are working with attorneys that are practicing attorneys, and obviously you will go with PPID. Everyone that would like to hire an attorney right now, whether it's immigration, personal injury, family law, and more, make it PPID. Note the number, dial the number, ring the number now. 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. Nelson, you sure you don't want to get anything in there before I turn it over to Alan, man?
No, I'm actually listening and doing work while I'm walking and chewing gum. I'm multitasking as I'm on the show. So I'm more of a listener today.
Nelson, you're in our Peekskill office. What's going on up there today?
I am in the Peekskill office. I am actually scheduled to meet with several clients, some new clients, some existing clients. Nice drive, no traffic, and as I said, multitasking while I'm on the show.
And Nelson, why don't you tell the folks a little bit about the kind of cases that you primarily handle as one of the top immigration attorneys at the firm PPID? And tell the folks also who should really seriously call you specifically. I'd like for you to tell them that, if you can.
We do literally all facets of immigration law. Personally, I do a lot of consults. I think the consult is important. The consult determines whether or not we can actually be of assistance in your case or with your issue. Typically the type of cases we do are U visas, which are typically for crime victims, Violence Against Women Act, which is domestic violence.
That also handles men too, right? Because it's
correct
for men
correct.
also, right?
Correct. Men are also eligible for VAWA. We do family-based adjustments. We do employment-based cases. We do removal defense. We do citizenship. We do a lot. We do basically, again, every facet of immigration law.
Absolutely. Once again, folks, that's Nelson Madrid. We call him the Maverick. And he noted exactly what it is that he focuses on primarily at the firm PPID. Remember, immigration is a minefield, as Conrad Pollack has said. It is a minefield, ladies and gentlemen, and you need someone to take you through that minefield. And that someone is the firm PPID. Once again, the number is 844-774-3529. Remember, when you call that number, you will get discounted consultation. So make the call, 844-774-3529. Let's hop over to my very good friend, Alan E.K., who Conrad has now made it very clear that he should get the vaccine immediately, and of course, he has agreed that he wants to get it immediately. This man here will give us a lot of information as to what's going on. He will tell us the updates. Many of you have questions about the ban, about when courts are open, if they're not open, about who can see who and so forth. So Alan E.K., as you get ready, waiting for the vaccine, bring us up to speed with some immigration news, some immigration update right here on Cruising with a Case Handler, showing personal injury and immigration.
Okay. Now, Conrad had mentioned that the president was down at the Texas border. One person who was not with him was Chad Wolf, who was the acting head of the Department of Homeland Security, who has resigned. And so there's a temporary acting head, but we're waiting, counting the days for Ali Mayorkas to take over as the head of the Department of Homeland Security. Under the Homeland Security Department, CBP is under that, ICE is under that, USCIS is under that. So Ali Mayorkas coming in is going to be a very good sign. Chad Wolf is gone. He was another person who resigned as a temporary running the Department of Homeland Security until Biden comes in. Now, breaking news. All international air travelers to the United States will have to show proof of a negative virus test before leaving. And this is a policy that will take effect January 26th. So anybody who is coming from Jamaica to the United States or any place else will have to show proof of a negative virus test before they leave. This is breaking news.
Okay, hold on. Whoa. Back up, because this sounds very, very, very important.
It's breaking news.
Yeah, Mr. K, Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Could you repeat that piece of news? And everybody turn up your radios right now. So this sounds very, very important. Coming from PPID's own Alan E.K., one of the top attorneys there. Let's have this breaking news and why it's so important. And once again, this is not a tape, okay? It's January the 13th. It's a Wednesday. What is this breaking news, Alan E.K.?
Breaking news is all international air travelers to the United States, including Jamaica, will have to show proof of a negative virus test before leaving. And this policy will take effect on January 26th. So from January 26th on, if you're coming to the United States, Jamaica, or any place else, you have to show proof of a negative virus test before you leave. This is breaking news.
So hold on. So then you're saying if you fly to a country, if you fly to, well, let's say you're in America.
Yep.
And you fly to Jamaica.
Yep.
When you're coming back from Jamaica, you have to take a test in Jamaica to come back?
You have to show proof of a negative virus test. And I think that it also would apply to Americans also, all international air travelers coming to the United States. So if you're an American, maybe you had the test already, but if you cannot show proof of a negative virus test before leaving, you're not going to be able to come here. This starts January 26th. This is breaking news as of a day or two ago.
So if we take the test here, Nelson and Alan and Conrad, if we take the test in the United States and it's negative, and we travel to another country, right?
Bring proof with you when you come back.
So no, and we take the test and it's negative. We're Americans. Let's say I'm going in reverse now. We take the test and we travel to another country.
Right.
I mean, before we travel, the test is negative. When we're leaving that country, they're not going to require us to go find a place in that country to take the test again to come back.
No, each country has its own requirements. So, I mean, if you're traveling to the UK, you've got to see what the UK's requirements are, whether what they want to see. I'm just talking about people coming back into the United States from overseas have to show that they've had a negative virus test starting January 26th. If you're going to England, you've got to see what their requirements are.
Right.
Or any other country.
This is very interesting because I'm quite sure that's going to affect a lot of travelers.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, more breaking news. In the past, when your green card was expiring, you would file a form called an I-90, and USCIS would give you a sticker to put on your green card. No more stickers on green cards. What's going to happen is you file an I-90 because your green card is expiring, and you're going to get a piece of paper. It's called an I-797, which will be temporary evidence that you're a permanent resident. You don't need the I-90 receipt. This temporary evidence will be good for 12 months from the time your green card expires, and you'll be able to travel, you'll be able to work. So this is like important news that no more, I'm not going to put any more stickers on your green cards. You're going to get a piece. First of all, you have to file an I-90. So if your green card is expiring.
Alan, I'm sorry to interject. Is
Yes.
the only time you file a I-90 when your green card is expiring, or are there other situations where you could file an I-90?
Well, if you lost your green card, it got stolen. There are some other reasons why you would file an I-90. The main reason is your green card is expiring. But if it got stolen, you lost it, that's another reason why you have to file an I-90. And the idea is that, so now they're not going to give you a sticker on your green card. You're going to get a piece of paper, secure piece of paper, which will allow you to travel, to work until you get the new green card. So this is this new thing about extending the sticker, replacing the sticker with a piece of paper. Now, this is good news, but one of my colleagues is saying that this new development about getting a piece of paper, that the sticker was better for employers and airlines in the DMV. So it's going to be more hassles for permanent residents because very few non-immigrant bureaucrats and airline gate agents are going to be willing to rely on a piece of paper rather than a sticker. So this is good for most people, but it could give other people a problem when they're trying to show this piece of paper and they're trying to get on an airline or something, and the airline may give them a hard time. But that's another development. Okay, now another development is that we're still waiting. There's a backlog in getting your appointments at the application support centers, because that's important as part of an immigration case. You have to go down, you have to get fingerprinted, and there are 1.3 million applications awaiting biometric appointments as of mid-December. 280,000 immigrants had their appointments canceled between March and June. So those people who are waiting to get your biometric appointments, you're going to have to wait a while. And this is a notice that I got from the USCIS that 1.3 million people are waiting for their biometrics appointments. Next, in terms of if you're traveling internationally and you're coming back to the United States and you have an appointment at USCIS and the appointment is less than 14 days from the time you arrive, your appointment is going to be canceled. So you have to be outside the United States. If you're outside the United States and you're coming in and your appointment is less than 14 days later, it's going to be canceled.
Is that due to quarantine, or what is that due to?
It's not a quarantine. It's basically, well, it's kind of a limited quarantine. They're not going to let you come into your appointment at USCIS unless 14 days have passed. So if you, let's say you're coming into the United States this week and you have an appointment at USCIS next week, that appointment is going to be canceled. You've got to be here for at least 14. It's kind of like a quarantine before they let you into a USCIS office. Okay, so we talked about the stickers. We talk every week about the fact that they keep postponing removal proceedings, and Nelson is the removal proceeding guru here, and they keep pushing the date back. And so the latest date for removal proceedings for people who are not detained and people who don't have a date already is February 5th. So there are millions of people waiting to have their removal proceedings scheduled, and the government keeps pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. So the latest date is February 5. Okay, now we talked about lockbox. If you file certain immigration applications, they go to something called a lockbox, and then you get a receipt that you filed the application. Okay, receipt notices from the lockbox have been delayed quite a bit. So you're not going to get a notice if you filed something with the lockbox, and certain applications go to the lockbox. Between 4 to 6 weeks, up to 10 weeks, you're not going to get a receipt notice. And those receipt notices can be important in some kind of immigration cases. So keep that in mind as far as the delays getting notices from the lockbox. Now, until Biden comes in, health insurance is going to be required. Until Biden comes in, public charge at I-944 is still required until he comes in. We're also expecting a lot of good things when Biden comes in, but don't hold your breath about, there may be a number of immigration Trump policies that might be finalized before January 20th. And I would expect Trump and his people to go full speed ahead and putting in some of these negative changes that they've been putting in for the last 4 years. And Conrad talked about that also. So with Trump, you can always expect the unexpected. So until January 20th, they've got a lot of time to publish whatever they want to do, or whatever negative things they want to do. So don't hold your breath until January 20th. So we talked about the application support centers. We talked about the delay in the immigration courts. My favorite is to talk about the new naturalization test, which for people who filed after September 1st, we'll have the new naturalization test. Whether Biden is going to do something about the new test or not, I think it's going to take time. You can't expect the Biden administration to do everything in the first 100 days. Their priority is going to be COVID. And so he can't change everything that Trump did in the first 100 days. Some things will take quite a while. Some things will take years until he makes changes and gets rid of some of Trump's policy. Now, we also talked about the fact that for people who have not filed for DACA, who never filed because of a court case, you may be eligible if you were born on or after June 15th, 81, if you came to the United States before the age of 16, if you were in the United States on June 15th, 2012, and you're still here, no proper immigration status as of June 15th, and you're a high school graduate, or you're enrolled in high school, or you have a GED, or enrolled in GED, no significant criminal record, you can file for DACA for the first time. I was just talking to a friend of mine in Oklahoma who says he's getting tons of new people filing DACA applications since this court decision. So if you never file for DACA, get in touch with us. We will be happy to help you. If you have filed for DACA, now that the permits are going to be issued, the working permits are going to be good for 2 years instead of 1 year. So if you have any questions about DACA, give us a call. We'll be happy to talk to you about it, help you if to either file for DACA or to renew your working permits. Now, interesting, some people who have DACA and who left the United States on a parole and came back to the United States, and they filed for DACA because they came here in the United States without a working permit. They came across the border or whatever, but they have DACA. You got a parole, you went out, you came back, married an American. Now you can file for adjustment of status here, which you previously couldn't do even though you had DACA. So keep that in mind. You have DACA, you traveled, you went out, you came back in, you're married to an American. Now, for the first time, you can file for green card here.
Hold on 1 second there, Alan, before we get to the top of the hour. Want to remind people that we're focusing on immigration today. And ladies and gentlemen, note the number for the law firm PPID. The number is 844-774-3529. That's the number for the immigration attorneys here, 844-PPID-LAW. Once again, make sure you give them a call, get that consultation in, ladies and gentlemen, ask them your questions, 844-PPID-LAW. That's 844-774-3529. Continue listening on PPID's page, David Squeezaniki's page. Thank you so much for tuning in on 93.5, but let's continue on Facebook. Proceed, Alan.
Okay, so we've talked about one of my favorite, the naturalization test. And those of you who filed before a certain date will have the old naturalization test. Those of you who are going to have the new naturalization test, we'll be happy to send you a copy of the questions and answers. We'll be
December
happy.
1st. The date is December 1st.
Yeah, so if you filed after September 1st, you're going to have the new naturalization.
December 1st.
December 1. So you'll have the new naturalization test if you filed for naturalization after. And we'll be happy to go over that with you because some people should not have filed for naturalization. Some people wind up not only not being naturalized, but in removal proceedings to take away your green card. So if you haven't filed for naturalization and you have any questions, any problems with the police or anything else, give us a call because maybe you should not have filed for naturalization in the first place. And you want a copy of the test, we'll be happy to send you a copy of the new test or the old test, depending upon when you filed. So we're also expecting a lot of good things with Mayorkas. Since the Democrats now control the Senate, Mayorkas's confirmation will definitely go through. And we're expecting a lot of really good things for Ali Mayorkas in terms of positive developments. And remember that he will be the head of CBP. He will be the head of USCIS. He will be the head of ICE. And people are expecting a lot of good things from Ali Mayorkas. I've met him. He's a lawyer. He's an immigrant himself. I came here from Cuba with his family when he was younger. And so that's going to be another good sign. And we're also going to have a new attorney general, which is going to be very helpful in terms of removal cases. Yeah, hopefully he's going to take away some of the bad things that they've been doing in terms of removal cases. So those are some of the latest updates. Remember that Governor Cuomo has signed the Protect the Courts Act. So no longer do you have to be afraid to go to a New York State court for any kind of matter and afraid that ICE is going to arrest you in the court, because this new Protect the Courts Act will protect you if you're going to state courts, and you don't have to worry about ICE grabbing you, going in or coming out or in the state courts. So those are some of the latest developments that are going on. There are a lot of other stuff, but we'll be happy to answer your questions. And remember about the breaking news: all international air travels to the U.S. will have to show proof of negative virus test before leaving, and this starts January 26th. So,
and I researched it also, and you're absolutely right. It goes for every single person, whether or not you are a U.S. citizen or not. Coming back into the country, you will need to show a negative COVID test, okay, within 3 days of traveling. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens right here on, of course, Cruising with a Case Handler, show on immigration and personal injury. I have the top immigration attorneys here. And of course, we have the personal injury attorney, Adam Handler himself, that you can reach out to by way of 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. I want to say thanks to the marketing team gathering the questions from the WhatsApp group and the page. We're going to be kicking it over to some questions right now, gentlemen. Let's get to these immigration questions here right now. Once again, folks, make sure you reach out to, of course, PPID at 844-774-3529. Let's get to the first question here. I met my fiance about 1 year ago, and she tried to come and visit me in the United States, but the United States Embassy denied her a visitor's visa. Can I sponsor her to come to the United States without us getting married?
well, theoretically, you can do a fiancé visa if you're an American citizen and you've never been married or you're divorced. She's never been married or she's divorced. You can file a fiancé visa petition. If the fiancé visa petition is approved, she will be called in for an interview. If the American consulate is satisfied, because a lot of times, even though a fiancé visa petition is approved, they're a little suspicious. They think you're just doing it just to get her here. You're not going to get married. But if they give her the fiancé visa, she comes here, you get married here within 90 days. She doesn't have to go home. You can do the case here. That's called a K fiancé visa. We'll be happy to talk to you about that. Give us a call. We'll discuss that with you.
And also,
also, if I could just jump in, once you file for a visitor visa and it's denied, again, typically it's denied because you were unable to demonstrate that you have significant ties to your country and that your trip abroad would be, or your trip to the United States will be temporary in nature. Remember, there is a file. So they keep this on record. And when you refile, they will know that a visitor visa was previously denied and when it was denied. If she wants to reapply for a visitor visa, it's typically recommended she wait at least 6 months and then try to reapply for a visitor visa. Now, Alan was talking about a fiance visa. I believe what the question might be asking is, can he send her an invitation, right? Can he invite her and basically say, not as a fiance, just, hey, I'm Joe Smith. I have a job. I make $100,000 a year. I own a house. And she would stay with me and I would support her. Yeah, he can try that. I don't know whether or not it'll be successful, but that's another route.
gotcha.
Yeah, and in addition, if she now applies for a fiancé visa after having been denied a visitor's visa, they might say, what is this? You were coming to visit, now you're coming to get married. Did you tell us the truth about when you're filing for a visitor's visa? There's some suspicion of kind of fraud there on a fiancé visa coming on top of the denied visitor's visa.
Gotcha. Once again, the voice of Alan E.K. and also Nelson Madrid, immigration attorneys at the firm. Make sure you get to them by way of 844-774-3529, 844-PPID law. Conrad, I got a question for you. It says here, I am a Jamaican living in, and I got mine.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Okay. It says here, I am a Jamaican living in, and I got married in March 2020. My husband is living in the United States. He's a permanent resident. He sent in his papers for citizenship in May last year so that after he gains his citizenship, he can start filing for me. He said that he didn't want to start the filing process as a green card holder because it would take too long. Can you tell me how long it will take for him to get an answer from immigration about his citizenship? And let me say, once again, I've said it hundreds of times, have the firm handle your paperwork, please, I beg of you, for your own sake. It's not for my sake, it's not for the firm's sake, it's for your own sake. Potentially, you could screw it up. Proceed.
And here's a perfect example of exactly what you're saying, Dave. That was a mistake not filing for as a permanent resident. First off, yeah, normally you apply for, if you have a green card and you're applying for your spouse, the process could take 2 or 3 years, but not lately. Lately, it happens just as quickly as if you're a U.S. citizen. If she had submitted that visa petition as a permanent resident, they probably, the consulates are all closed, there's still a travel ban, but as soon as that travel ban's lifted, they'd be eligible. Don't need to be a citizen. Yes, normally it's faster if you're a U.S. citizen, but delaying submission of the petition until you get your citizenship, it's a big mistake. They should have filed that visa petition, the I-130, and still should, because you don't know when this person is going to become a U.S. citizen, especially with the new test, whether he's going to pass it. You file that visa petition. If the husband becomes a citizen in the interim, great. Then you can make it go faster if necessary. But holding off was a mistake.
Huge.
Probably still is.
Right. And once again, people, from my end where I stand, I am not an attorney. I'm a broadcaster, all right? But let me tell you something. I've learned throughout the years that you should go with the professionals. Go with the attorneys at PPID. Let them handle the situation. Now, it may cost you, all right? Once again, just give them a call. Talk with them. 844-774-3529. Get yourself that discounted consultation. Hire them. Get it done. 844-PPID-LAW. All right, here's another one. I am an unmarried, over 21-year-old who is trying to seek some information as it relates to a petition, an I-130, filed by my mom. I am somewhat confused because based in my research, I see where somewhere found to be 6 years old and some 7 years old for the above mentioned petition. My question is, can I travel to the United States on my non-immigrant visa and have my case transferred to the United States instead of me waiting for the specific time period given?
All right, that's an F2B category case. Unmarried son or daughter over 21 of a permanent resident, parent. Mm-hmm. It typically takes, I don't know, 8 to 10 years to complete a case like that due to the annual quotas that are out there.
Right.
Now, if this person has a tourist visa already, yes, you can travel to the United States, and yes, you can try to do your case in the United States. But you have a tourist visa, you're only going to be granted 6 months to stay here. You must maintain lawful status throughout the period of time that you're in the United States. So it's going to depend on when that case was filed, the F2B case. It's going to depend on when that visa petition was filed and what the priority date is, which will determine when you can do your case in the United States. If the priority date is current and you're in the United States legally, you can adjust status in the United States. But that's a big if, right? And you're rolling the dice here trying to figure this all out by yourself. If you mess it up and you're out of status one day, you're gone. Right? You cannot do your case here, and then you might risk being banned as well, barred from coming back to the States for years. So playing with fire by doing this type of stuff yourself if you come to the United States.
And if he doesn't have a visitor's visa and a petition has already been filed, when you go into the consulate for a visitor's visa, they're probably not going to give it to you because the petition has been filed for you already for an immigrant visa.
Gotcha. Once again, folks, Cruising with a Case Handler got a final question here. My 8-year-old daughter and I have a green card valid for 10 years. Due to COVID and divorce making my living situation difficult, I am planning to send her abroad to my family for school for at least 2 years. So for that, I'm going to apply for a re-entry permit, Form I-131. Will it affect her application for citizenship? Although I have been married for 4 years, we've only been in the US for 1 year. And is it better if I take her back to the United States after 11 months abroad for a quick vacation before I send her back again for another 11 months?
I don't want to have her stay out of the United States more than a year, and even better not to stay out more than 6 months. But 6 months, but absolute, she should not stay out more than a year straight.
Even with re-entry permit?
Well, the re-entry permit, fine, but the re-entry permit, if you have a re-entry permit and you use it to stay outside more than a year, it breaks the counting for citizenship. So even though you have a reentry permit, do not stay out more than a year, preferably not more than 6 months.
And also, to get a reentry permit, you have to be in the United States to apply for it. It's submitted by mail. You must be in the U.S. when you apply for that reentry permit. If you get it, which typically takes anywhere from 3 to 4 months, normal times, it's good for 2 years. So it allows you to stay out of the country for up to 2 years.
You know, when you apply for citizenship, one of the requirements, if you're irrespective of whether you're applying under the 5 or 3 year rule, you have to demonstrate you've been physically present in the United States for 51% of the time. It sounds to me like that will be an issue. So citizenship may not even be an option at this point. Wow. Right. But, you know, I mean, I hate to sound like Conrad and be a little sarcastic here. You know, you could go ahead, you could file for citizenship, you could get it denied, spend time, spend money, and then, you know, realize, you know, I mean, I think, look, I think, as we've said many, many times, you know, speaking with an attorney, you know, would obviously quickly be able to explain and identify the issues and the problems with your case. You know, I know a lot of people think it's really easy. They can do it on their own. They try to do it on their own. You know, I mean, good luck, you know, good luck. But, you know, for those people that would like legal advice, you know, give us a call. I think it's pretty clear. We know what we're talking about. You're listening from different perspectives, different angles, different approaches, and different answers to the same question, you know, just possible issues, potential problems. And if I were a client, this is what I would like to know. You know, well, you know, again, filing for a reentry permit is not that easy. Are you in the United States? If you're not, you can't refile. You know, continuous residence, right? A break in continuous. What does that mean? You know, now you file on your own, you go to the interview, they talk to you about continuous residence. You have no clue what they're talking about. You know, you go, you refile it, it'll get denied again. You know, you know, my personal peace of mind is priceless. That's just me.
And if you file a reentry permit, you have to come back and you leave the United States after filing, you're going to have to come back to be fingerprinted. So keep in mind, that's another trip back to be fingerprinted.
Is there an exception if you're traveling for work?
Exception to what?
If you're traveling for work out of the United States on your green card and you're filing for citizenship and you keep going back and forth every few months or so, let's hypothetically say you have a green card and you keep traveling to, let's say, Jamaica for work from the United States, and you file for your citizenship, is that going to still be considered a break in continuance?
There's a rebuttable. Go ahead, Conrad.
Depending on how long you're outside the U.S., yes. Work, travel, you know, pleasure travel, whatever. It doesn't matter unless you're working for the U.S. government in certain situations. If you're out of the country for work, it doesn't matter. Right? You still are subject to the same requirements.
Right, and there is a rebuttable presumption that you have not broken. Right, like you will have an opportunity to demonstrate that you did not break continuous residence. The issue becomes when you have extensive travel for extensive periods of time, that's a problem. You know, 1 or 2 trips you could probably get around, but when you've got 6 trips, you know, I represented somebody the other day that was out for 189 days, you know, 190 days and 179 days. That's a problem. You know, that's a problem. And then on top of that, there was other trips, you know, for 4 months, for 120 days, for 130 days. You know, it leads the examiner to question on whether or not you're actually residing in the United States.
You know, the rule is you have to demonstrate physical presence in the United States for 2.5 of the previous 5 years before you submitted your application. That's the general rule. And in terms of that rebuttable presumption that Nelson is talking about, that only applies if you're out of the country less than 6 months continuously. If you're out of the country less than 6 months continuously during a particular year, the government have to show that you intended to give up your green card. It's a rebuttable presumption. If you're out of the country more than 6 months, then the burden is on you to prove that you didn't give up your permanent residence, and the service has to either agree with that or not. If you're out of the country for more than a year, there is no presumption. I mean, actually there is. The presumption is you gave up your green card. A year, that is the defining line. You're out of the country for more than a year, you're going to lose your green card. So, there are presumptions in the law, but that 6-month line, that's really the key. If you stay out less than 6 months, you're okay. Once you cross that 6-month barrier, then the burden is on you to demonstrate that you didn't intend to give up your green card.
Gotcha. Well said. I've learned a lot today. That's all I've got to say. A whole lot today. A whole lot today. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the reason why we're asking you to share. I'm going to ask my marketing team to share this to every platform that they know, YouTube, everywhere. I think some great solid information is in it. It's brought to you by the law firm Pollack, Isaac, and Nasico. I'm also going to ask everyone that's watching us right now, post the phone number of this firm right here in New York State. Okay, Pollack, Isaac, and Nasico, PPID 844-774-3529. I want to say thanks to, of course, Alan E.K. for bringing us up to speed with the immigration news update, sharing a wealth of information that we needed to know. I want to say thanks to Conrad Pollack. I want to say thanks to Nelson Madrid. Powerful, solid show right here. Once again, the number 844-774-3529. Pass the number on to someone that you know may need it. Put it in groups. Let them know about PPID. 844-774-3529. There's also a link on the page that you're watching right now where you can actually, put your email address in. So this way, information like what you heard today, you can get that weekly, if not twice a week. So just fill out that form, ladies and gentlemen, put in your email address, and they'll send you a newsletter every single week. Once again, the number is 844-774-3529, or you can simply email consults@ppid.com. That's consults@ppid.com. Thank you all.
David, I could just interrupt you for a sec. Regarding our newsletter, the firm puts out a newsletter basically every week, sometimes every other week. We're in the process of changing the format at the moment. So this week it's going out today or tomorrow, I think. But this will be the first one of the year. Typically then it'll go out weekly, bi-weekly. But the firm puts out a newsletter which deals with breaking news, updates in the law with regard not just to immigration, but also personal injury, also litigation, New York courts. One of the things that we talk about is when are the courts reopening, eviction laws that might be changing. What can you do if your landlord is trying to evict you, or if you can't afford to pay your rent because of COVID issues? We have a newsletter that goes out talking about all kinds of legal issues. Again, we put it out once a week, once every other week, depending on what's going on in the world. But it's certainly worthwhile. If you're tuning into this show to hear what's going on, the newsletter would certainly be of interest to you. So I definitely encourage you to sign up for it.
Appreciate that. Once again, folks, Conrad Pollack, the managing partner, thank you so much. Also want to say thanks to Nelson Madrid, one of the partners there, Alan E.K., the most experienced attorney, of course, I know across the United States with information on immigration. Thank you all so much for watching, but very important that you share this show today. Very important that you let everybody know about the show. There's so much information in it. Thank you all so much for watching. Let's do it again tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. on 93.5 WVIP FM in New York, EST, ladies and gentlemen. And also, of course, on Facebook, the PPID's page, my page, David Squeezaniki, Link Up Radio's page, Adam Handler's page, The Case Handler. Make sure you share that. Thank you all so much. Have yourself an amazing day. And let's pray for the orange bag to go. Thank you.